This podcast contains potentially adult language, adult themes, definitely drinking, and possibly sexual context. Listener discretion is advised. Welcome to Drinking with Authors, the Literary Briefs edition. I am your host, Erica Lance. Our sponsor today, forgot to mention this on the last podcast. That's okay, they have a commercial, so it's thrown in, is Skunk Brothers Spirits. Coupon code DWA10 gets you 10% off, veteran and brother owned. Amazingness, amazingness. My amazing co-host today is Danielle Orsino.
Yay! Don't forget to like and subscribe our podcast and leave a nice little review because we want to hear what you have to say about these podcasts.
Yes, and our guest today is the incomparable, I love the word incomparable, and it needs to be used more, incomparable Rob Volpe. Woo!
Hey, thank
Yay.
you.
You're welcome.
Can I make clinking glass sound?
Clink, yes. Mine is plastic because I break shit, so I'm not allowed to.
Well,
She's not allowed to have anything nice.
I'm not. I'm
Wait,
literally.
Because I am double fisting in this, I can
You
actually
can clink
the glasses. So here, let's see if this will work.
Ooh,
Yep,
I
you
like
made the
it.
clink sound like Despicable Me. We clinked the glass.
Yes. So let us talk about what we're drinking, shall we? I am drinking. What am I drinking? I am drinking
Riesling.
Thank you, Danielle. I'm getting
70%.
Dragon Riesling.
Organic.
I'm almost done with the bottle. It's fine. It is 70% organic. So the other 30% will probably kill me at some point, since some 30% of this is probably formaldehyde. I'm not even sure, but it is pretty amazing.
Right.
I think there was some like random grapes that rolled down the hill into the basket, and like that's why
They were just like, I guess so.
See, I kind of wonder if the people who make this one, it's actually very yummy because it's not too sweet and it's not too dry. It's like the perfect Riesling. But
Okay.
I go, did the company, this is my policymaking brain, Rob, you'll appreciate this kind of thing too, but either the people who make this one are incredibly honest and wanted to be like, I'm going to be true to things, or they got in trouble somehow. Just for the record, every human out there, if you see a warning sign, it's not because somebody usually in the background went, oh, I should warn people about this. It's because some human did something ridiculously stupid, and then they had to put a sign or a policy in place saying, don't do this stupid thing. So,
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, Danielle, what are you drinking?
I'm back to my barefoot, but this time I got watermelon fruscato. Ooh.
Barefoot wine coolers.
Okay, Danielle,
Elevated.
are you a Pitts Creek fan?
Yes.
Are you? I am. Oh my God.
You know,
Baby.
there is Herb Erblinger's fruit wines.
This one tastes like radishes.
Yep. Kind of looks like it.
One of my favorite mock commercials ever.
Oh my God, I won't even describe how many times I've watched. I actually have role played at my last work. We did these little commercials, and me and another we would do the Schitt's Creek folding the cheese scene.
Yes.
We did that twice, and then we did the where David's out in the field, and so we had people that were playing all the characters. I played Myra, one of my favorite characters to play ever, and I have a friend, Robert, shout out Robert, who plays David perfectly. He's like,
that should be our company Christmas card.
I'm like, yes it is, and I'm passing it on to you. What step are we on? Like,
that should be our company Christmas card.
Yes.
I actually, there is pictures of me doing this. I have the videos. I also did Effie Trinket. There's a video of me doing the Hunger Games at work. It's fine.
That's what you're doing.
Rob, what are you drinking?
Well, as I mentioned, I'm double fisting today. I've got two different cocktails with me, both of which were created for the launch of my book, which is all about empathy. So as you might expect, they are empathetically named. This one is the empathetically intense rye smash. And so the recipe, it's 2 ounces of rye, 1 ounce of Barrow's Intense ginger liqueur, hence the name Intense, half ounce of lemon, and half ounce of maple syrup. It gives it a really fun, lovely flavor. Yeah,
Okay.
like that one. And then this is the Empathetically Intense Mezcal Margarita. So it's 2 ounces of mezcal, 1 ounce of Barrow's Intense, an ounce of lime, and loveliness over us.
You need to send me
cool.
those recipes so I can share them with the audience.
I will. I'll
Yeah.
email with you.
Please, absolutely do that because I will share them with the audience. Okay, ready, Rob, for rapid fire questions?
I hope so.
Here we go.
What is your favorite
Mhm.
episode of Schitt's Creek? See, I just changed it up. Do you see how I did that?
Mhm.
It has
That threw
to
me
be-
off.
I mean, God, there's so many. Like for just total tears, David's wedding to Patrick, but then like the first Herb Erblinger commercial, like had me in tears when she first did that. And then every other episode, pretty much.
I
Like-
love
Like
every
Annie working at the
episode.
vet.
I have to say, the first time I heard the wine episode where he was describing what flavor of what kind of wine he likes to drink, I love that. That was like one of my favorite moments, like ever
Yeah,
in a
yeah,
show. It was
yeah. It's
perfection.
such a brilliant show, and it ended so perfectly. Like they did such a great job. And
Yes,
Moira
and
and wigs and all of it.
Everything about it. Costume, it was all perfect.
the cabaret episode, that's another one of my favorites.
Yes. Oh, I love.
Oh.
The
I love
cabaret.
me some cabaret. I love musicals. Love musicals.
I just
Okay.
saw. Well, ask me. What
Go
the-
ahead. No, what? Yeah.
I just saw the Into the Woods revival on Broadway. A couple weeks
Oh.
ago. OMG, best production
Really?
Into the Woods I've ever seen. Like,
Really?
and no offense to Vanessa Williams, I love her. She was a fabulous witch, but I've seen it on stage 3 other times, I think. And this one, it just had this energy to it that other productions hadn't. And they retain the entire story. So as it goes dark in Act 2, it's all there. And to me, that careful what you wish for element of the second act is what the show is all about, and so moving and powerful. And yeah, it was great. It was so wonderful. And I'm a big Sondheim fan, so
Nice.
highly recommended. It's just got extended
know.
into October.
We'll see if we manage to go up to New York Comic Con. We can go
That's
see
what I
it.
was thinking. Now we know what to do.
Yes,
Put it on the
yes.
list.
The last musical I got to see in New York was Sweet Charity with Molly Ringwald.
Oh, how was that?
That was amazing.
Nice.
Amazing. Well, not only am I a ridiculous Molly Ringwald fan because 80s and like every
Right.
John Hughes movie ever made. Yes, yes.
Of course.
But she's amazing. And then at the same weekend, I got to see Jessica Lange, Christian Slater, and Josh from Sweet Home Alabama. He played Reese Witherspoon.
Yes. Josh Lucas.
Yeah.
Lucas.
In The Glass Menagerie.
Okay, that's impressive. Yeah.
Okay. Can we just talk about Jessica Lange's hand acting?
Oh,
Like, oh my God, that woman expresses more by like gripping her hand than many actors do in their entire career. It's so good.
oh my God. I love her. I love Meryl Streep. Like, anyway, okay, we can get off on a tangent. But the question I was actually supposed to ask you was, what is your favorite book of all time?
Oh God, that's hard. My own probably doesn't count.
No.
Ugh. I'm gonna say Linda Ellerby's first autobiography, And So It Goes, was really influential for me back in the 80s, because I wanted to be a journalist. We were talking earlier about my writing. The thing we didn't get into was my whole like interest in becoming a journalist. And Linda Ellerby, and so a lot of people know her from her time as the anchor of Nick News, but before that, she was an anchor on NBC and did like weekend news and overnight and all these things. And she wrote a book called And So It Goes, and that was her signature sign off. But she had such a great way of turning a phrase and telling a story. And I so admired that. That when her book came, like I met her, I've had her sign it. I was the yearbook editor my senior year, and that's how I ended the book. And So It Goes is a little nod to.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, and it just fueled my imagination and interest in being a journalist and writing back then.
I love that.
That is very cool. And I like how you tied that into something we missed. I appreciate that. Well done. Points for that. What about a book you did not like? What is a book that is your least favorite book of all time?
Oh God, least favorite.
Mhm.
If we could roll this conversation back to before I had some drinks, I would.
Nope. That's why we do these conversations after
That's why
we've
it's
had
later.
beverages.
Mhm.
Hashtag plan that way.
Well, I'm
Mhm.
looking around at my stashes of books, thinking that there's going to be something. Yeah, I mean, there's so many. Not so. I mean, do you guys finish every book that you start? No.
Danielle does, unfortunately. We have talked to her about this.
Yeah.
That I don't, because it's a gigantic fucking waste of time, and none of us have enough time for that. And I say
power
that to
through.
people all the time. Like, it's not helping the author if you are not enjoying yourself and you're just like, I'm gonna trudge through this to the end. You help them by buying it. Well done. You've accomplished a goal. Gold star. You can chuck that book, donate it, whatever. If it's if it's something that's saying stuff that you're violently against, then maybe don't share it. But otherwise, donate it.
Yeah, no, there was a
I
book.
try to get through always.
I know you need to stop doing that. You don't have enough
I
time.
know.
Give me 1 second. Can I run into my bedroom and look? Because I think I might still have one of the books that I didn't like.
We'll give you 1 second. Yeah, we're gonna.
Yeah.
Right back.
We'll probably talk about you, but that's okay.
No, we're allowed to talk about people. Yeah, that
Okay.
happened. What character are you dressed as, by the way?
This is Aurora. I got the crown.
Oh, the Aurora crown. Oh.
Yeah.
Hi.
I got the Aurora.
Good. Oh, me and my wine are having fun tonight. No,
Yeah,
I'm mesmerized by this piece, and I'm like,
how good is this filigree priest? Yeah,
that is
good, isn't it?
amazing.
That's a good piece. Aconite Creations made this for me. It's a good piece. Yeah.
That is gorgeous.
Yeah.
That really is. You know what's funny is that
and it
I
matches
tried
the crown.
for the longest time when I was cosplaying. It's kind of like when my Gaston cosplay. That jacket is a wool jacket made the way the jackets were back then. It weighs 40 pounds. So a friend made it for me, made it very accurate. I can't be this character unless we're outside in the cold, because it is way, with the vest and then the jacket on top, way too fucking hot. Like, way
That's why
too.
I can't do interviews in the Thine Eyes of Mercy corset, because it's a steel-boned 18th century corset that Rainbow Corsetry made, the one that's on the cover of Thine Eyes. That thing has me cinched for days, but it's steel-boned. I can't breathe. So you get like short little pictures like, hi, yeah, I'm here. Then that thing's got to come off, and I have to sit down when I'm unlaced because it's made.
No. When I had her make my Lestat, I'm like, you need to make it so I can actually wear it and not like thick velvet. Anyway, sorry, we're talking about cosplay outfits during your departure.
I heard Lestat. Is that?
Yeah, so I'm 6 feet tall, and I like a lot of the male characters to cosplay. Like, I have a Gaston costume, but I was telling her it's completely accurate. So it weighs 40 pounds. It's made out of the wool and stuff like that they wore back then. It's beautiful. It's just ridiculously heavy. But I have a vampire Lestat because my friend Brandy dresses up like a Louis, and her daughter at the time dressed up like Claudia, my goddaughter. So we would role play, and it's a velvet. It's his peacock velvet outfit with the gold inlay.
Yes.
And it is, she hand painted the gold on the it's so gorgeous. She's an amazing seamstress, Rachel Cross, and the other. And but it's when she went to make that one, I said, because she'd made the Gaston, I'm like, I love the screen accuracy on this, but it is not practical for cosplaying. Like, it's just not.
Yes.
So let's do something a little different.
All right. Well, here, I'm going to show you. If I can hold it big enough. So this is my husband and I drag on the Queen Mary 2. I told you earlier we did that voyage.
Yes.
So on Masquerade night, it was like, well, what else do you do on Masquerade? Go and drag. And apparently it was so much fun. Oh my God. Apparently no other passenger had done that before, but we took a spin around the dining room and like
Oh my God.
the other
I
guest.
love you. Love
It was
you.
so fabulous. It was so
I'm
fabulous.
going to find a Myra picture and I'm going to email it to you so you can see my Myra.
Okay,
Yes.
Love
please.
you.
Yes.
So I couldn't find that worst book. I think it's in the garage somewhere. I should just really tuck it in a community library box.
Yeah.
And what is the name of it though?
That's the thing. I blocked it out of my mind.
Okay.
Oh, it was that
no,
bad.
This is
It was that bad. Like if I don't finish a book, I don't like it. And I will say, like, I'm reading well, no, I'm not reading The Bone Code by Kathy Reichs. It's like part of the whole Bone Collectors series. Because I've been looking, I loved Patricia Cornwell back in the 90s when she was first getting started with Kay Scarpetta. Like, and I have been looking for that experience for 20 years and I can't find it. And I was doing a bookstore appearance in Indianapolis and I asked the staff, like, hey, give me I'm looking for a thriller. And they were like, oh, Kathy Reichs. And it's like, damn, if that dead body doesn't show up in the first 2 pages, like, it's so hard to get into it.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I don't know, there's some hurricane coming and I just kind of don't care. So like,
You're out.
it's yeah, and now it's sitting on my desk and I'm like, great, what am I going to do with that? So Kathy, if you're listening, please just put the dead body up front, like start it that way. But
Move it up.
what I did find is the Ellerby book by my bedstand on my bedstand, and so it goes, Adventures in Television.
oh my
That's
God, look at that amazing hair.
I love it.
So my sister had given it to me, so she had like given a little inscription, but then I got Linda to sign it a few years later.
That is
Oh,
awesome.
that's so great.
Yeah, it
That's
was.
just, that's awesome.
What was
Okay.
it like signing your books? Because I have one of your books signed. What was that like?
I like it. I like it. I try. I don't just like throw my name, as you probably noticed, like I don't just throw my name in it. I personalize it. And even where Linda Ellerby just said to Rob Best, Linda Ellerby, I try to write something. I've got several permutations of what I write.
I love that.
So I like to write a little something to the individual, presuming, you know, they're the ones that are going to read it. So, you know, to Erica, thanks for the support, something, something, something. We can make the world a better place. And then I sign it. The thing that I do, I don't know what got into me, but when on the day the book launched, I went to Alexander Book Company here in San Francisco. It was a lovely indie shop because they had it in the book in stock and I wanted to see it. I'm really big about seeing things in the natural environment.
Yes.
So we went to the bookstore and they, you know, it was whatever, the Tuesday at 10 a.m. They didn't have it out yet, but they went into the basement, dug it out, brought it up to me and let me sign it. And I started numbering the books that are for sale that people have bought. So if you have one of the books that you've purchased, or yeah, I number it. I'm up 200 or something, and you know it's a little hard to. No one will ever line them all up, but if they were, I'm sure there's some duplication of numbers because I forget sometimes. But yeah,
That's sweet. I love that.
Number by my signature, so that there's, you know, it's just a little something extra for the book.
Oh, that's sweet. I
And
like that.
you also talk to people, which I love. So this is a little bit different. When they line people up for you to sign, your handlers start getting agitated. And I've seen this happen at conventions too. There was a huge call out about the gentleman who played, what's his name on Stranger Things, got really upset at a Comic-Con in, I think it was.
Is that
Germany.
David Harbour?
Yes.
Is that David? Yeah.
Yeah. On how he was treated because they were like, you need to go faster. You need to go faster. You know what I mean? And I love that you were talking to people because you didn't see this, but your handler behind you was losing her shit over the fact that you were taking moments to interact with the fans. But I absolutely love that you did it, and it made an impression on me because the people who are coming there, they're lined up to get you to interact with them. They don't want you to throw something at them.
No.
And celebrities get schooled in doing that. And I understand some celebrities, and there's a lot of people, and you can't spend time. But I was at actually a convention with that had the following people, amongst others: Jason Momoa, Jeff Goldblum, and Pee Wee Herman. Paul, right?
Rubens.
Rubens, got it. I don't know why it's Pee Wee. And I get caricatures signed by people. So I went up and I was interacting with all. That's what I get signed, is I have a friend of mine draw me and them in a scene, and then they sign it. So Jason Momoa was very hysterical, but you could
He's
tell
awesome.
like they were trying to get them to move people. And he looked down because it's him dressed as Aquaman and me as Wonder Woman with the lasso around him. And he looked down at it and he looks up at me and he's like, yeah, you seem like trouble. And I'm like, you have no idea. He's like, I'm just gonna sign this because you scare me. And then he handed it back to me, right? But I've watched the stars just grab stuff and go and grab stuff and go. And I'm like, Pee Wee Herman spent 5 minutes with Paul Rubens spent 5 minutes with every single person that came up, interacted with them, asked them about themselves. Didn't matter how long his line was. He was taking time with every person. Jeff Goldblum the same way, had lost his voice. I got a caricature done of me and him from Earth Girls Are Easy.
Oh, I love that.
Hello,
movie.
call out to that.
Love
it. High five on that.
Yes, yeah. And he literally was like, because they're like, he's not going to be able to talk, blah, blah, blah. He lost his voice. He stopped and he looked at it and he's like, this is really cool. And but those three I loved, but I watched lesser celebrities like grabbing, signing, and I'm like, hi, these are fans.
They
interact.
Yeah, with
Yes.
and with all due respect, like they did try to like hurry me along, and I don't know how many people are going to show again. Who am I? First time author, book on empathy, like massive show. You know, I was on stage one time when Tiffany Haddish was talking, and I'm like, no one's gonna come see me. I'd go see Tiffany Haddish, like, you know. So and also first time didn't know what to expect with something like that. Because God knows if I do a book signing at a bookstore, it's like people that I know at this point that are showing up. Like the book hasn't gotten out so far that it's strangers kind of showing up. So I don't know what was going to happen. And it's about building that connection. I mean, Erica, because of that, like we wouldn't be here today if I just signed the book, because I wouldn't have known about, you know, drinks with authors. I saw it on your badge and I was like, tell me more about that. And we were able to have that conversation. And to me, I mean, empathy is about building that connection. And I will say, David Sedaris, I went to a reading that he did, or his like kind of reading performance in an arena type. But he did a signing before and after he was available. And he spends time talking to people. And granted, while he's talking to you, he's drawing shit in the book. And so like he signed, it was supporting Carnival of Snackeries. So it was last fall. And he crossed out snackeries and wrote fags for my husband and I. And, you know, why not? Because like I obviously, but he spent some time talking to us, and I got to, I told him about my book was coming out, and he was really gracious and asked me questions about it. And we had a nice few-minute exchange. And I just think that's, what you should do. I think that's the responsibility of the author, the talent, the celebrity, the person, because if somebody's going to take the time, like, so there's Nigella, well, there's Linda Ellerby, but then there's also Nigella Lawson. And Nigella did a signing of one of her cookbooks here in San Francisco. It was years ago, 5 years ago, maybe. And I went and got her to sign it, but I actually got to talk to her during the signing. And, my husband, Charles, was home. He was like deathly ill with something. And she mentioned that her then husband, Charles Saatchi, was, like had been sick or something. And, oh, there's such bad patients. And, all like we had this nice little interaction, and that meant so much that, just bonds that fandom relationship, that connection, in a way that just signing it and passing it over won't. The author, the author that then took my seat and signed books, I was nice. And I was like, oh, hey, can I have a copy of your book? And she signed it and she gave it to me. And I think we left it in Las Vegas recently. Because I was just like,
there's no connection. I had that.
no,
I met Jim Steranko, and it was the same thing, the comic book artist. And I mean, he's a legend. I was like so nervous. I wouldn't even talk to him at first because I was that nervous around him. And I waited. And when we came up, he started talking to me. And by the end of the conversation, he asked me, when he found out I was an author, he asked me for a copy of my book. And he's like, would you sign a copy and bring it back to me? Because he knew I lived in the area. And he said, are you coming back tomorrow? I said, yeah. And he goes, would you bring me a copy of your book and sign it for me? He's like, because I'd love to read it. And I looked at him, and literally my husband had to put his hand on my back because I was about to fall over. And I went, okay. Like I was still, and the next day I went back and I went to his handler, and his handler waved me over. He goes, he's been waiting all day for you. He goes, come here. And I walked over and I said, I don't want to interrupt the line. And he goes, no. And he goes, here's the girl. And Steranko looked at me and went, oh, honey, I've been waiting for you. Where are you? And he's like, do you have my book? And I looked at him and I was like, and he's like, and he opened it. He's like, it's signed to me, right? And I opened it up. I said, yes, sir, it's here. And here's my postcard. And he goes, is your contact information in here? He's like, because after I read it, and had a whole conversation. And I was like, oh my God, Jim Steranko's talking to me. And he looks at he's like, the cover's beautiful. And then he's like, oh, that's you. He's like, see, I told you you're so beautiful. Somebody should put you on a cover. And he grabs my face and he's like, come here, come hug me. And I'm like, I was dying. And right there, I was like, can I buy another one of his book? Whatever. I was like, put it on the card. I was like, I'll buy it. Whatever it is, I'll buy it. I'm like, whatever he's selling, I'll buy. And
it even goes beyond just the sort of capitalism of that moment.
Yeah,
where you buy
it was
something.
just,
You're such a fan now, you're gonna espouse his work, you're his evangelist, you're gonna,
I'm going to the next con, like just to see. And he told me, he goes, I'm gonna be here, I'm gonna be here, I'm gonna be there. He's like, you're always welcome at my table anytime. And I'm like, yeah, I'll be there. Like it was just one of those, yep. I will be there just to come by and say hello. Like that's a given.
So
but
authors,
he just took that time.
If you're listening, learn from this. If people are there wanting to sign your book, wanting to talk to you about your book, it doesn't matter if it's a tremendous line. I'm not saying spend 20 minutes with them, but spend some time acknowledging their existence, because they are a fan and they're there to literally support you.
Just give them that moment.
God.
You don't know the impression you'll make.
Exactly. And you don't know the impression you'll make if you don't do that.
Well, that too.
Well, I can guarantee the impression you'll make if you don't do that. And guess what? There's social media. So unlike before, where maybe they could tell a couple of their friends around the block about,
now they're going to tell everybody.
Now they can tell everybody what a complete dick you've been. So,
and they will.
Okay. Rapid fire, Rob. What is your favorite weird food combination?
Oh yeah, we need this.
A weird food combination.
I'm sorry. Did you think these were all going to be writing questions? We don't do that here on
No,
Drunk with Authors.
No, I'm trying to think what my weird. Okay, so like I don't know how weird this really is, but I mix like 3 different types of cereal together in the morning.
Oh my God, Chelsea, one of my other co-hosts,
Chelsea's gonna love
the greatest thing in the world.
I was just gonna say she's singing his
gonna
praises
listen
already.
to this and be so mad she wasn't on this show. This is her. She has one of those little hotel cereal things with like 6 different cereals in her house, and every day she has a bowl designed for cereal, because the little bowls are not enough and the big bowls are. She has like the just right Goldilocks frickin' bowl for mixed cereal.
Love it. I love it.
Shout out, Chelsea.
Shout out.
Yeah, it's
Unfortunately,
I do like health because I'm over 50, and then a little something else for flavor. And it generally kind of works out.
I love that. Okay, well, if you, you know what, Danielle? Go for it. I don't feel he's going to go the direction you want him to go on this, but go for it.
Probably not, but I'm going to ask. Okay, Rob. So you're going to meet one of these 3 things, and you have to prove that they're alive. Loch Ness Monster, UFO, or Bigfoot. Which one are you coming face to face with to prove to the world that it does in fact exist, and UFO. Why?
UFO. Because I think they already do. I actually, Loch Ness Monster, yeah, probably. Bigfoot, sure, I'd go with that. but UFO for sure. And I think for me, why?
Mhm.
Well, if we're going to get philosophical, it kind of goes.
Let's
Well,
go for it.
hold on, let's grab our drinks and get philosophical.
Yeah, I was
shall
just
we?
gonna
All right.
say. Mhm.
Oh, let me clink my
sip.
glass and just say,
Mm.
we're going to get philosophical about it.
Mhm.
You know, I was very fortunate growing up. My parents, since I've had a couple of cocktails, I'll just tell you,
Let's
um,
go.
my parents were, I was born 4 months after the wedding. Let's just say that. So had me a little
Wink,
early,
wink.
60s, according to the usual timelines. Yes, wink, wink. And
Mhm.
some of the family was not all that supportive of that. And so they, my parents, as we were growing up, opted not to go down the route of every Sunday going to church, and felt it was more important that we spent Sunday mornings as a family doing something rather than going to church. And that ended up being a really great gift for me because it helped me appreciate all religions that are out there and understanding where different religions are coming from and being able to question certain things. And, you know, the idea of, well, if it's, you know, our way is the right way and everyone else is going to hell, it's like that doesn't feel very empathetic. It doesn't kind of go with
I like how you brought it around.
yeah. Oh yeah. And so similarly, so you know, it's just that kind of arrogance of religion and that ours is the right way and everybody else is wrong. Says who, please? We're all here on this earth. Similarly, like, I'm sorry, the universe is like way too big for us to be the only intelligent life that's out there. And I am sure there is much, much more advanced life than us that exists. And I think it'll be when the government tells us they know, or, you know, whether they already know or it's coming, or, you know, it's yet to be determined. I feel like with all the little UFO studies that are coming out now, that's like they're teeing us up for something.
They're getting ready.
Well,
They're
I
getting
also
ready.
think that, you know, what they said in Men in Black is completely accurate. A person is smart, but people are stupid. And if
Totally.
you start telling that there's other life and it's visited us and blah, they will start that going out and shooting at anything in the sky kind of mentality. And then
Panic, mass panic, and it will also cause people to question so much of their own sort of,
The pillars of society.
yeah, and God and all the things that are out there, instead of going, no, there's this gigantic, massive universe that just keeps expanding. And of course, there's going to be other life that's out there. And that could be a really beautiful thing. I hope that the people that come, if I'm going to be going to meet them, I mean, I think first as an empathy activist, I would be a good candidate
You'd be
possibly.
a good ambassador.
Yes, because I'd be wanting to understand where they're coming from, try to share our perspective and be that bridge, as long as they don't want to eat me or something, you know, put aside they're
I
here.
think if they wanted to eat us, we would be in a very different situation from a cattle standpoint.
We'd be on the buffet table.
Yeah, we would. I don't think it's to eat us. I personally think probably if they're getting here into this planet, they're like, these guys are idiots. Like,
I think we're
they're
like the
waiting for
petri
us to
dish of the
mature.
galaxy. They're just kind of like, yeah, no, they're not ready yet.
Yeah.
Unless they're humans from the future
Ooh.
coming back in time to check on us.
And from an alternate future that
Could be an alternate dimension. Yeah.
Are we multiversing here on Drinking with Authors?
I'm just, yeah, I'm
multiverse?
sorry. I took it off. All right.
I have
went off
2
on a tangent.
cocktails, so I might be in the multiverse already. You don't know.
You
Yeah, it could
you
be.
could be. This show is the multiverse for authors.
It could be. So,
That's
you know,
good. That's a great
we
question.
wormholed it.
Give me another one. I want more.
Okay,
We'll
so
take
what
it
is your
back.
favorite book to TV or movie adaptation where you think they did a good job by it?
Ooh,
And I doubt you're going to say Into the Woods, so go ahead.
I will not say Into the Woods. Oh man. Okay, I'm not going to also say Jurassic Park. That was a massive letdown.
Oh,
Massive letdown.
Yeah.
Um,
I've talked about this. I recently listened to that again because my boyfriend, and he's an identical twin brother, love dinosaurs and Jurassic Park, but they'd seen the movie, but they'd never read the book. And so I had an audiobook and I was driving, and his brother listened to it with me and was like, oh, this is much more adult. I said, yeah, they can't take it back now what they did. This was not a children's story.
Yeah.
And he was like,
no,
yeah. And then he told my boyfriend, and my boyfriend was like, I don't want to listen to it.
don't ruin it for me.
So Jurassic Park was my LA riot read of 1990. What was that, two?
Oh,
So
wow.
I was living in Los Angeles at the time of the Rodney King riots, and we all got like locked in our, there was lockdown and all of that. And I had happened to pick up Jurassic Park, and so blew through that in the 3 days that we were stuck at home, and like loved it. And so excited the movie was in production and coming out the next year. And they, it's like, kids, what, who, like, no, this is like dinosaur mayhem and destruction and, danger, man, don't do this. And, some of the themes they've gotten into, but yeah, that was a disappointment. Carrie was actually the original Carrie, I think is a good adaptation from that book. I would say that comes to mind. I'm a huge fan of Auntie Mame with Rosalind Russell as an adaptation. I think that was great. My latest kind of obsession, and I know people have waned on this, but I love Westworld on HBO. And just the idea of humans and hosts and artificial intelligence and kind of where everything is headed and some of the themes that they explore there. And I think they took a kind of okay movie and really made it, especially the first season, just took it to this whole other level. And I've been a loyal fan ever since, and the fourth season just wrapped up. So
okay, what about the opposite? You said Jurassic Park. Where do you think they went horribly wrong with the adaptation
for Jurassic Park
to movie?
That they similar to what they do with Into the Woods, where they take out all the
darkness,
the mature material, where it's like, hi, there's like, animals with teeth this big, like, that've never tasted man before, and we're a morsel and a half. So I think the tension just wasn't there the whole time. It was too much of a kid's adventure, and the kids with Sam Neill and and it's the veggie burger, the veggie burger.
Vegisaurus.
Kill this brontosaurus. We're gonna eat it. We're gonna call it a veggie burger. But the Vegisaurus, yeah, like that. Yes, it was cute, and so I understand they were trying to appeal to a huge mainstream audience. I wanted more of Laura Dern in the trying to turn the power back on, and Sam Jackson's arm like falling on her because there's a velociraptor around. I wanted more peril, because that is what realistically would have happened.
Right.
That and the dinosaurs were already off the fucking island. I keep having to explain that to people.
Yes.
Like, the dinosaurs were off the island. That was the problem, is that a bunch of children had died on Costa Rica because the dinosaurs were already off the island.
That's how it
From comfies, which are this tall, just for the record. Little bastards.
Little 18-inch. Yeah. So there was, they just diluted it. And that's disappointing.
Is that the one you like the least, or what? Is there another
of the Jurassic Park movies? Or
no, not Jurassic Park.
No, just in general.
An adaptation of a book that you thought, God, they could have done this better.
Well, I mean, I'm sorry, Steven Spielberg. Jaws was an amazing movie, but there was, again, some adult themes in the book that added a lot of dimension to Richard Dreyfuss's character and also the wife. And I understand why they cut all of that. Just like there's only so much that you can do. but I think it would have made it more interesting. I mean, the movie's amazing, so don't get me wrong, but I think that
Well, the movie scared the shit out of people from being in the water for like generations.
no, it totally worked.
And now there's so many shark attacks, and I'm like, maybe we need to re-release the movie. Because I think there were less shark attacks because people weren't stupid enough to get in the water, right?
Exactly.
And now everybody's getting bitten by sharks, and I'm like, there's a movie you should watch because you'll never go in the water again.
Solve the problem.
Yeah, exactly. I'm trying to think of like some of those Merchant Ivory productions and
we're still here, people listening. He's just paused and looking at his bookshelf.
Pondering, and I can't think of anything else at the moment.
Okay.
But what's going to happen
we'll
is I'm going to turn my TV on, and there's going to be like, oh God, I hated that adaptation. Why did they do that?
We'll be getting emails.
Ironically,
we'll have to update it.
Drinks.
I had a guest
and
that was on the other day. We asked this question to. She ended up emailing me and it's like, I need to clarify 2 things. Send me this email. She's like, I feel better now, and I'm like, okay. I'm not reading it on the show. She just needed to make sure I knew these 2 things.
There you go. No problem.
I love it. Okay, so I'm going to ask you a question, and then Danielle's going to have the final question.
Okay.
Ready?
Got it.
If you could be any mythical or paranormal creature, what would you be and why?
Wonder Woman.
Yes.
Okay. Oh my God. Okay. Why? Calm down. Calm down over there, Queen Aurora. Calm the hell down.
Okay.
And this is not for Danielle's benefit. I write about it in the book. Legit, like 1970s role playing when I was a kid. My best friend and I would spin around and turn into our costumes and run around and do our thing. Wonder Woman is, her core values are my core values. Truth, compassion, love, justice. I mean, like, it's all there. It's all there. And I still, Danielle, I don't know if this happens to you, but I do watch the old Linda Carter's episode.
Yes.
Yeah. So when they were singing the theme song and the whole idea of stopping a war with love, like I still get teary about that because of the power that good, love, positive emotions can have and can triumph over the darkness.
Hallelujah.
Yeah.
I totally agree with you. I said that I believe that if people just actually watched the TV show, like that should Congress and like Washington DC should just if I went there and just said, here's the Wonder Woman season, even if it's just season 1, World War II, here, go.
That's what you would
learn so much, even when the gorilla came after her, and then she what I'm talking about. People out there, just go watch it. Yeah, it's everything. And Linda Carter is still out on Twitter, like fighting for everybody. She is my hero. And Wonder Woman always says, before you throw a fist, offer your hand. Before you raise it, offer your hand. She's everything. She's empathy, compassion, wisdom, love. She is all of it. Wonder Woman is the greatest creature in the whole wide world. I don't care what anybody says. I have her tattooed on my body. Wonder Woman is everything. Thank you so much. The end.
Yes.
Okay. Did you think of a question?
Well, but wait.
Yes, I did.
No. So I presume you're good with Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman and that embodiment.
Yes.
Yeah.
We will
I
not
was
discuss
thinking
Wonder
with
Woman
84 because I think
That
they
movie.
did a huge disservice to Cheetah and stuff like that. Don't get me started on any of that, but
That's
I
different.
love her. I also
Yes.
think me and Danielle have talked about this too. Whoever is writing these DC movies, whoever's writing them is failing epically on how to tell a freaking story
How to connect
about
them.
these characters. Because you have amazing actors, amazing representations of this. We have this special effects now that we didn't have in 1975,
Right.
And
We
even
have
Linda
all
did
this.
it better then.
How can you not write a story that doesn't make me want to choke the life out of you? Because
The first one was good.
First one
First
was
movie was good.
yeah. The second, I actually I liked Wonder Woman 84. My expectations were just excitement to see Wonder Woman on the screen, and like I would have been disappointed if they just read the phone book, but I would have been happy to have just seen them. But yeah, I do recognize the flaws, and I wish there was more Cheetah, but they always seem to do that with villains. Like, oh, let's put two.
There should never be two villains. It should always be one. We don't need two. That's first and foremost. We don't need two.
Because we only watch the Michelle Pfeiffer scenes in Batman Returns because
Oh,
that's
hell yeah.
the good part of the movie, and then not even good. That's the amazing movie. In
She
another
ate a
way,
canary.
yeah.
Like,
Well, you know what's interesting on that? I will say, as far as bad guys and them doing a good job, so I'm gonna put a caveat on the DC. The Dark Knight and Heath Ledger as the Joker.
Yes. Oh yeah. No, they did a
He's
good
amazing.
job with Christopher Nolan did a great job with that trilogy. A lot of the rest of the DC universe is just needs help. But Wonder Woman generally has been good. I am excited for the third movie, and Linda Carter is supposed to have a bigger role in it.
yes,
Oh, hallelujah. Like,
the
Okay,
Queen returns.
Danielle,
yes.
okay, Danielle, you got to ask your question. I love you, but you okay? Now
Sorry.
you've broken
All right,
her. You've broken the Wonder
I'm sorry.
Woman.
Well, it's very rare we get a guess. Okay, never mind. All right. If you
I
could
will
visit-
connect you two up. You guys can fangirl over Wonder Woman for as long as you want. I appreciate
Okay.
Wonder Woman. I love her. She's tall like me. Trust me, I get it. But we are doing a podcast and we do
Okay,
have
I'm
to
sorry.
wrap it up.
I apologize to the listeners. I'm sorry. One day I am going to cosplay as Wonder Woman for all you guys, just so you know. But anyway, okay, if you could visit one fantasy world, literary fantasy world, so any place from a book, where would you go and why?
Ooh, that's a tough question for me. I'm gonna go OG and go down the rabbit hole with Alice.
Wow, that is not a
Ooh.
pleasant place to be as a very avid Alice in Wonderland fan. And I turned my camera around, but people would think I was completely nuts if they saw my Alice collection. My boyfriend makes me keep it in here because he's like, you can have one Alice room because it was creeping in our old house into other rooms. But that story, not the Disney fucking story.
Yeah, no.
The
Story.
real one.
That's a dangerous place.
It is
I
a
like it.
dangerous game, but
Why would you go there?
I
Don't get me wrong, I'll go with you, but I'm just curious as to why
Let's
you would
hang
go
out.
there.
I'll give you my Wonder Woman bracelets.
Oh, thank you. Yes, I'll need them.
Yes, he
and
will.
Alaska of truth to make sense of anything and everything that's going on.
I got you.
Thank you. No, I think the perception changing that happens there, and I mean, and I'll be honest, I don't read it a lot in fantasy, although Danielle, I am going to read your books now. I don't read a lot of contemporary fantasy, so I'm not as, I can't say, oh yeah, I'd go there. I mean, the dragon land in Game of Thrones, because flying dragons is like super cool. But what I love about Alice in Wonderland is just that initial change in perception and changing your perspective, the way that you look at things. That's what empathy is all about. So that's bringing it back. There are so many consistent themes as I've like kind of analyzed myself and, talked to people about it. It's like, oh yeah, like I love Tim Walker. You asked me about my favorite book, and actually there's a picture, and it's not a picture book, but there's a collection of a photo book from Tim Walker. He's a fashion photographer, and he did some really cool ass shit where he would change the perspective on everything. So there's a photo of a fashion model with a baby doll, but the baby doll is 18 feet tall, and then the fashion model is, her normal 6 feet. So perspective just gets totally changed on its head. That's why I love Sunday in the Park with George, because it's the perspective changing. And so with Alice in Wonderland, everything is just kind of upside down and topsy-turvy and not what you'd expect, and good can be bad and vice versa.
I like that.
I think, and because it's, you know, at least in my understanding of fantasy lands, it's an original, like, you know, probably inspired so many different authors and people to follow. So I think going back to the beginning would be really intriguing.
I love that.
Well, they say that it's always best to start at the beginning.
I was just, there you go.
And then go to Danielle's books.
Yes.
Yes.
And then come to see Birth of the Fae.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'll be all
and
set, and I'll set that up
You
for
go
you.
there. That's a dangerous realm too, not gonna lie.
Well, yeah,
Um,
I got dragons too.
Yes, that's true. She does have dragons. Okay, Rob, shameless self-promotion time. How do people find you and your book and all that amazingness?
Awesome. My book, Tell Me More About That, Solving the Empathy Crisis, One Conversation at a Time, is available wherever you buy books, in hardcover, ebook, and audiobook. I actually narrated the audiobook, and that made me fall in love with my book even more. I love how that's turned out. So if you're an audio book person, please check that out. But you can also find me on the socials at EmpathyActivist on Instagram in particular. You find me on LinkedIn. I'm on Twitter, RM Volpe. And then to learn more about empathy and the book and speaking engagements and all the things, you can go to 5stepstoempathy.com. It's the number 5 stepstoempathy.com.
Wonderful. It has been amazing having you on this shows. I can do all my words with the wine. It's fine.
That's very good for you.
I'm pleased to report I'm like almost done.
Me too. This was a whole bottle. Go me. Danielle doesn't drink the way I do on these shows. She maintains the air of decorum as Queen Aurora over there. You were asking, that's Queen Aurora, in case you were wondering.
Yes.
Okay, nice. I love it. I love
Thank
it.
you.
And
Yeah,
how
I'm
did
gonna
you-
go. Oh, this is Aconite Creations made this for me. This is my little piece. And then actually Enchanted Earth made the Queen Aurora crown that they now sell in their crystal shop. It's all real crystals, Angelite disc, and this is all quartz crystals.
Oh, it's beautiful. I love it.
Thank
it's
you.
absolutely
Yes.
gorgeous. Queen Aurora. Okay,
Thank
this
you,
has been
Laura.
Queen Aurora. This has been Drinking with Authors, the Literary Briefs edition. I have been your host, Erica Lance. Our sponsor has been Skunk Brother Spirits, coupon code DWA10. Check them out. They're amazing. My amazing co-host has been Danielle Orsino.
Like and subscribe to us, and then please leave us a review so you can tell us how amazing we are.
And yes, please, we are amazing. And please do it now as you've been drinking. We appreciate that. Our amazing guest has been Rob Volpe, and we will see you guys next time.
Awesome. Thank you. Yay.
Yay.